They were last year's champions. They're here to defend their title. They did make it into the winner bracket, the winner stages. So they will be playing a best of 3, but they're, of course, going against DK. And actually, I do believe that we have an interview ready with DK. So let's see what they've got to say about the match and, of course, the international.
各位正在收看直播的观众朋友们，大家好！又到了采访的时间，我是精灵。那么接下去马上就要进行的对决呢是 DK 对阵 Navi。那么现在站在我身边的这名成员是来自于 DK 战队的 ROTK， 你好。
大家好，我是 DK 战队的 ROTK。
那么经历了小组赛的阶段，你觉得 Navi 战队应该说他们的表现不是特别尽如人意？你觉得这个实力是他们真实实力吗？或者说你是否觉得他们有所保留呢？
我是觉得他们是有所保留的，毕竟他们是去年冠军，而且他们本身队伍的实力是非常强劲。
那么之前也是经过了一系列的采访，都表示 Navi 战队可能玩一些中国战队所非常擅长的体系，不一定能够打过，但是他们经常会出奇制胜，选择一些令人意想不到的英雄组合，比如说像屠夫呀、炼金这一系列英雄。针对这样的英雄，你们究竟是如何应对呢？
根据我们的对手进行的分析，我们得出来的结论，首先像你刚刚提到的屠夫，我们是直办的。
那么像其他一系列的英雄有没有研究或者说准备过？
像其他一些类的英雄，我们都有研究，并且我们都有应对的方法。
好的，那么也是感谢 ROTK 的采访，希望你们能够在比赛中发挥出自己的应有实力，谢谢。
谢谢。
Okay, then, so there you have it. That's ROTK from DK. That was a tongue twister.
Was it?
No, but I'm just stalling because I want to meet the rest of the team. Let's meet the guys from China and, of course, DK.
Burning, Anhui, China.
Long DD, Hunan, China.
ROTK, 陕西 China.
Super, 广东 China.
Zappo, 湖南 China.
So there you have it. That completes the whole lineup then for Team DK. One of the players that's really kind of stood out here has been Burning. He's been great, but what do you guys make of the lineup and the team?
Well, it is Burning's team. He is the kind of carry player that they build their roster around. He's the only member left from their original roster, which is a very star-studded roster with legendary players such as Yafet, King J from former eHome. And he's going to remaining. He's stuck with them. He's formed this new team, and they've been performing pretty well. They finished second in their group, and I think they're going to be going in this match with a real shot against taking down the returning champions.
All right, and Nebula, anything to say about the team before we get a word from Navi?
They're definitely Burning-centric. They're kind of the antithesis of Navi. Navi are famous for playing all kinds of playstyles. They can literally do anything. So I think this is going to be a great match.
All right, then. So you heard it here. DK definitely going to be a really tough opponent as they did come out second of their group, 11 wins and only 3 losses, and they're going up against Navi, and we'll have a word from them.
My name is Daniil Ishutin. My nickname is Dandy. I'm very quiet, always playing serious. Papi is the biggest one, so he's the captain. Light is most quiet guy probably, most serious. Arsard, he's playing support in our team most of the time. Hvost is biggest role probably. He go crazy, suicide in the game, lose us some games. So it's okay, it's close. Last year it was great to win the international. I would like to repeat it this year. This year it's gonna be 100 times harder. It's much more equal chances than last year. I think I'll feel more nervous in games. Because we won last international, the team's gonna maybe use some special strategies against us. So it's pretty bad for us. I think it's gonna be amazing week with amazing games. But it's gonna be amazing tournament in all aspects. It's gonna be fun.
How can you not love that guy, Dendi? Yeah, but of course, Navi did finish in their group 8 and 6. No, I was right. I'm always right. 8 and 6. Bruno Statman is nodding, I can confirm. And let's meet the other members then of Navi.
Dendi, Lviv, Ukraine. Light of Heaven, Moscow, Russia.
Puppy, Tartu, Estonia.
Хвост, Kyiv, Ukraine.
Okay then, so they did mention that it's going to be a lot harder this time round. I believe the game is actually starting. You guys know Na'Vi, they're returning champions. Quickly guys, before we jump to the game, any predictions?
I got Na'Vi.
I got DK because I'm sure they're going to ban Dendy's Pudge.
Okay, Bruno Statman, something intelligent, insightful, and inspiring.
Go, Dendy.
All right, let's go to the game. That's enough.
And we're back for our final best of 3 of the winners bracket this evening. Make some noise, Seattle! On the slate this evening, we've got the defending champions of the international #1, Natus Vincere. And on the other side, we've got DK. The band's moving along quite quickly now. We've got Invoker, Rubik, and Darkseer out on the side of Na'Vi, and DK with the complete respect band taking out Pudge as their first ban, followed by Naga and Lycanthrope.
Oppa Dendy for the Pudge ban, of course, and Chen going to be first picked here by DK. And I got to say, this is probably the most anticipated match of day #1. These two teams very evenly matched, especially in the group stages. Their scores were almost identical. And I think, you know, fan favorites, Na'Vi for sure. They definitely showed that they have what it takes to take on some of the best teams in the world. Of course, they did win the first international, like you said, too. And I mean, Chen, first pick, it's pretty standard stuff so far. Prophet's still in the pool, though, so we'll see if Na'Vi wants to go ahead and pick him up here.
Prophet still hanging around, Shin picked up by DK. But yeah, let's go back to Pudge because they're, believe it or not, that's not a troll ban. That's not something DK just did to be, you know, oh, let's make the crowd laugh. Whenever it comes to complete team-based play, DK has their own version of Dendy. It goes by the name of Burning. Maybe some of you out there have heard of it. So whenever you're talking about getting down into a match where potentially one player could make or break their squad's chances, they want to make sure they take away that situation where it really benefits Na'Vi. And anyone who knows Dendy knows that he can run Pudge like no one else on this planet. It also plays into something a lot of the other commentators have talked about as well. Every now and then, you'll see a Wisp band sneak its way in. To be honest, a lot of the Asian squads struggle against those very unorthodox, kind of chaotic strategies that revolve around, say, a Tiny and a Wisp, a Pudge and a Wisp, that sort of thing. So, even though it's really awesome to see it, a lot more thought process goes into that Pudge band than might meet the eye at the beginning. Leshrac, the first pickup for Na'Vi. We'll see who they go with second.
Yeah, I'm still kind of thinking they might go ahead and take the Prophet here. The hero is just so good pretty much no matter what lineup you run. Leshrac can be used as a mid, he can be used as a support. He's pretty much a jack of all trades. And going back to the Pudge ban, I mean, that's just something like you said, DK especially, a lot of the Asian teams are very calculated. They like to get little exchanges and come out inches ahead, and at the end of the game, you're like, wow, how did they get so far ahead? We never really did anything that wrong. And Pudge kind of throws a wrench into that. But they're going to go ahead and pick up a Tidehunter. So after seeing it 2 games in a row between the last best of 3 that we just watched, of course, which is EG and IG, they're going to go ahead and say, you know what, we don't want to play against it either. We're just going to go ahead and pick it.
Yeah, Prophet's still in the pool, and tell you the truth, this is a continuing trend. I mean, he's banned very frequently, picked very frequently, and I doubt I would be really just dumbstruck if Prophet makes it all the way through to the second ban phase. But we do see it, and we've been seeing it more over the last few days and especially the last few weeks going all the way back to the preliminaries. Prophet as a hero is just not that instant ban, instant pick hero that he used to be. He's becoming more situational. He's fallen more towards the long lane sort of a role. You almost never see him anywhere else. Tinker even is now going to be picked up along with Venomancer by DK, and I think that just illustrates the point. Let's take a look at Veno and Tinker. Tinker can do a lot of things. He can provide, basically be an anchor hero for your team, or he can fit into any kind of laming scheme or run solo lanes just fine. Same with Veno. So we're beginning to see really these teams prioritizing a lot more when it comes to flexibility. Animage picked up by Na'Vi.
Well, after taking the Tidehunter, that pretty much secures them a solid mid-game. No matter what other support they want to go with, I'm assuming Leshrac's going to be playing a support this game. After seeing the Animage pickup, that means that Na'Vi can still take team fights mid-game and not really worry too much about it. The one thing, though, that they have to worry about is Tinker plus any other hard pusher is so difficult to deal with, even for an Animage. If he gets his Battle Fury at around the 12 to 14 minute mark, which is pretty standard in pro games if somebody has a decent start, even sometimes faster than that if you're, you know, burning. But in this particular game, I mean, this is definitely solid drafting by Na'Vi. Animage is one of the hardest heroes to shut down in the game. That's why he's been seeing more of a resurgence lately. You just have to commit so much to gank him, and because of the fact that people aren't going necessarily 100% push anymore, they're going for stronger lanes to make sure that they can get the early game sealed before they start to push. I think that Animage is going to be seeing a lot more play in this tournament.
Oh yeah, we see Animage become not just this, oh, let's have a fragile carry who has to have farm before he's effective. As you've pointed out in the past, we see these stat builds. We see the way he's built revolve a lot more around being involved in mid-game engagements, and it actually makes him infinitely more potent in the laning phase as well. You will see Animages pick up kills in a try-on-try situation where he's at the disadvantage at level 1. By the time he hits level 4, once he's skilled into the blink, of course, and he's skilled in usually at least one rank of mana break, he's going to take a couple of points in stats to just give him a little bit more durability on the backside. Morphling going to be banned out. About time they banned that hero. Sees play way too much, in my opinion. And Puck going to be banned out by DK.
Yeah, just trying to avoid the Puck and the Tide combination. That kind of teamfight initiation is something you really don't ever want to be against. You think Tide is bad? Try playing against a Tide and a follow-up with Puck, or a Puck and then a follow-up with Tide. Either one is really, really difficult to try to engage into. Plus, since he has one of the highest initiation ranges in the game, even without a blink, he can catch heroes like Tinker off guard, where Tinker is known for being all over the map, pushing side lanes, just making sure that he can be as much of an annoyance as possible and get his farm up simultaneously. Puck is really good against that and also can stop his TPs if he absolutely has to. But banning out Morphling, that kind of closes the options here a bit for DK. Now they can go with a Lone Druid if they want. They might even be able to go something like a TA if they want to take a note out of Orange's book. We saw that earlier today too. So still possibilities left for at least either a hard carry or maybe even a potential mid, depending on where the Tinker wants to lane.
Yeah, if they want to go with the mid, I mean, like you said, TA is very much available. You've got Druid that you could fit into a tri-lane quite easily with Chen and Venomancer, that you can have Tinker mid, then have some kind of a long lane. So their options very open. They're going to go ahead and take the long lane first, so that's kind of the way things seem to be shaping up. Chen and Venomancer, of course, usually going to run together in a situation like this. Tinker, a very, very strong mid that can hold his own against pretty much any mid in the game. And Windrunner, just the most all-around stable long lane hero you're going to run into. Queen of Pain going to be picked up now by Na'Vi, solidifying their own lineup most likely. Tri-lane going to center around that Animage. Going to see Dindi on that EM while we're at it. Leshrac and Tidehunter going to be a part of that. Queen of Pain, their mid, so they're going to be looking for a long lane as well.
We could be seeing Bounty again. We could see a Beastmaster here from Na'Vi too. I mean, both of them are pretty strong in this situation. Again, initiation range is so important when you're playing against a hero like Tinker, because oftentimes we see nowadays he'll go for like a 4-staff blink, Boots of Travel, and Soul Ring, which makes him highly mobile and very difficult to deal with, and it just abuses the fact that he can just rearm, bot to a new wave, push it down, blink out, and just be a nuisance. So getting heroes with blinks like Animage, like Queen of Pain, once the Queen of Pain gets a Hex in the later stages of the game, the Tinker players are really going to have to worry about that. We're going to see Luna again. This time picked up by DK, so we're going to see a burning Luna?
Yeah, that just happened. Luna, the last pickup from DK, I think everyone in here live collectively, their mouth went, what? But yes, we are going to see Luna. Played by DK. Still awaiting the last pickup now from Na'Vi. Before the Luna pick, was going to say it's a shame they didn't have a carry, because the 2 blinks of Animation Queen of Pain could have been nullified possibly by a disruptor. Doesn't matter though. Broodmother rounds out Na'Vi's lineup. So most likely we'll have the tri-lane focused on Animage, Leshrac and Tidehunter providing support. Queen of Pain will most likely be the mid handled by Dindi. Going to be Havost handling Animage instead. And Light of Heaven currently on Broodmother, almost certainly the long lane. On DK's side, same situation. Most likely a tri-lane that's going to center around Burning. It will be playing Luna. Chen and Veno, most likely supports. Windrunner, most likely our long lane in that situation as well. And Tinker in mid. Let's run through the lineups again. ROTK going to be handling Windrunner on the side of DK. Long DD. Good. Pauses it just so I can run through it. Long DD will be handling our Chen, and I'm not going to lie, Drasko, I've told you this. I'm a Long DD fanboy, man. Dude is full of big plays. Oh, he's full of big plays.
Yeah, we saw his Windrunner in the preliminaries, and it was just ridiculous shackle on top of ridiculous shackle. I love the fact that Na'Vi picked up a Brood last. We've seen that a couple of times, not just in this tournament, but a couple of other before this, where you basically just force the other team into having worse lanes because you don't have anything really to deal with a Brood. Yeah, Power Shot's okay, and then you have basically March, and that's it. Gale doesn't really do too much. You're not going to get early ranks in your glaives on Luna just to counter Brood. So, I mean, that's a really, really nice last pick coming out from Na'Vi. I think it's going to help their laning phase tremendously.
Moving on with the lineup, Zippo going to be handling our Venomancer. Tinker going to be played by Super, and Windrunner handled by, again, ROTK. On the side of Na'Vi, Tide going to be handled by, didn't see who dropped. Was it Havost that dropped? It was not Havost.
It was Puppey who dropped.
Puppey going to be handling our Tide. Animage going to be played by Havost. There's the guy. Dindy going to be running our Queen of Pain. Broodmother handled by Light of Heaven. And Leshrac handled by Arzard, rounding out Na'Vi. Looks like Puppey's back in the game. Give a special hello to all of our viewers watching via Dota TV, and of course this packed house here at the Benaroya Hall. Let them hear you around the world. Three, two, one. We are underway. The final best of three here in the winners bracket on our day one of the International. So now, Draskell, based on the lanes that I think are pretty reliably predicted here, who do you give the early advantage to and why?
Well, honestly, the fact that Havost is going bottom is a little bit strange. Maybe they think that they can get up wards and then just go ahead and send him top, and I think that is what he's doing. So if it is just going to be a defensive tri-lane with a solo Brood long, that's pretty much the best lanes they can hope to pretty much put together here. In the early phase of the game, I mean, Animage, once he gets his Battle Fury, he's known for being the fastest flash farmer in the game. No one can contend with how fast an Animage can farm. And as good of a player as Burning is, it's kind of the hero limitations because you won't be getting those glaives early. And I think, honestly, giving an Animage the kind of start that he's going to be getting comparative to a Luna, I think Na'Vi is going to be a little bit ahead, especially considering the Brood as well.
DK running as a 5-man squad, looking to find somebody. Closest would be Puppey, but good positioning here. He's going to see down, sees Burning, poke his nose up, wants no part of it, so we'll make it through with no blood lost so far. Good luck, have fun. Comes out on both sides. Gotta love the manner. There's the horn, and we're underway. Zippo and Burning still hanging out, waiting for the rune.
The battle begins.
It will spawn. Not there. It will be an Invis rune spawning at bottom. So, DK playing very aggressive. Already charging back up into the dire side jungle. Puppey able to make it back to safety. And they're not done. They're going to keep moving around. And they may catch Leshrac. Arzard gets spotted, and a little auto attack action. Here comes Puppey. Havost is there. Oh, he blinks on top. The Gale lands. Puppey taking a lot of damage here. Burning as well, making a run for the low ground. Chen gonna send Burning back home. Long DD is there. And Tide drops for our first blood. The return kill delivered as well. There's a good split earth that lands on Zippo. Zippo looking for safety. Ducks through the woods, not gonna find it. And the defending champions off to a 1-kill lead short of 1 minute in.
That was such a clutch body block coming in. Havost gave enough time for Arzard to land the follow-up stun, get the second kill on to a Venomancer, and kills like that matter so much, especially because they had to send Burning back to base. Now he's up here all by himself. He's not going to be able to really farm it. He might be in trouble.
Up at top, looks like Burning's taking some damage. The Edict is there. Burning is going to drop again. 3 kills for Na'Vi in less than 1.5 minutes. And they are out for a blood, Draskell.
That was just a little bit of over-aggressive play. I mean, he had to have known that the support was still there for sure. I mean, they pretty much killed Puppey, and that's it, so you kind of have to expect a counter-aggression coming out. He had no one to back him up. I mean, honestly, that's just a mistake I didn't expect Burning to make.
No, not at all. Early laning phase, very much going in the favor of Na'Vi at this point. Even Windrunner doing quite well down here against Brew. Brew with 4 last hits, Windrunner at 8. CS, though, not the story. The early aggression, and it's continuing everywhere you look. Both of these teams are not out for a stable game. Want to continue to pour it on, want to keep the damage up, and want to take charge of the pace of this game right from the get-go.
The thing that's a little bit difficult right now for Na'Vi is the fact that, yeah, they did get those 3 kills, which is really important, but now the supports are actually not around to really help out Havost at the moment, so he's having a really difficult time farming. He's basically just sitting here and watching Burning farm and that's not really a situation they want to be in. I would like to see them apply a little bit more pressure to this top lane, maybe force LongDD and Zippo back, because once you get those kills, I mean, you have an experience advantage. I mean, Leshrac is level 3 comparative to the level 2 right now, the other supports coming out of DK.
Bottle crowing going on here out of Super. Super's going to continue to just try and keep Dindi as far off pace as he can. Dindi sitting at 8 last hits, 9 denies. So very much getting the best of that middle lane, only 3 and 3 for Tinker at this point. Na'Vi, and again, you already feel like there should be more going on. So much happened in the first minute, you're just waiting on it to break out again. That's really the feeling you get, Draskell. It's the calm before the storm. Both of these teams are known to be very aggressive, and look at Dindi taking more damage from Super here in mid. But both are known to just pour it on and not blink whenever they feel like they have even a marginal advantage that they can parlay. And speaking of, Zippo's getting trouble. He's going to drop. Na'Vi comes charging out again. And DK, how many times are they going to do it? They get too deep in the dire side jungle, and the combination of Avos Puppey and Arzard is just too much for them to deal with.
This tri-lane is not going well at all for DK. I mean, at this point, you kind of have to abandon hope. Chen's actually making his way to the bottom jungle. This is probably the only call he can make at this point. And bottom lane, a lot of the creep kills right now for RTK are basically Broodlings, so that's not really a good indication of overall CS. Light of Heaven is definitely doing well down here, and Na'Vi is just doing great in all their lanes at the moment.
Na'Vi showing why they're a team to be feared and why they were champions a year ago. Looking to continue that run. DK stands in their way. Burning taking some damage here. Burning could be in trouble again. Nope, never mind. Thought we were going to see Puppey come up a little quicker than he was. Forgot he was a Tide Hunter and he doesn't move that quickly. Invisibility rune. Oh, look at Arzard taking damage. Now Super is going to get the kill. Now he's in trouble. Dindi with 4 seconds to the blink, but LongDD's up there, gonna try to send him home. Oh, and the big stomp from the Centaur buys him all the time he needs. And Super makes it out by the skin of his teeth.
LongDD, ridiculously
big
good, man.
Plays.
The Holy Persuasion, the perfect timing on the Centaur stomp, able to save his teammate. I thought he was going to drop there for sure, but unfortunately, Dindi didn't quite have his blink up. He went 2-1-2, so his blink cooldown's quite long. Doesn't have quite the burst damage that you would normally see, and he just got it basically for mid.
Oh, Puppey going to catch a Gale. There's the stomp as well. DD is there, and Burning joins up with the rest of DK. Manages to secure the kill for Zippo. Na'Vi letting this lead slip away slowly but surely. TP in from Puppey. Burning and Zippo still hanging out in the lane. LongDD not choosing to abandon the dire side jungle quite yet. DK's played their way back to this, but look at this, another big split earth. And down goes Vito again. How many times are they just going to be caught off guard? They have to assume that Leshrac's just going to be showing up. They gotta, I mean, Burning has to have his farm. But at what point do you write this lane off is not where you need to be.
At the moment, Luna's sitting at 9 and 4 CS, which is definitely way, way behind.
Yeah.
Annie Mage is sitting at 25 and 7, and for about 5 minutes, that's pretty much average farm. And because there's been so much action up here, it's actually impressive that he's managed to get that much, because every 2 seconds we look up there, we're seeing a fight. And DK's gotten a handful of kills as well, but honestly, Havos is getting as much farm as he needs, and he's been involved in every single kill that his team has gotten so far. And that means that he's getting the assist gold, he's getting, of course, the kill gold for 2 of them, and that's a start that Na'Vi wants.
Taking a look at the scoreboard, 3 kills for AA at this point. 3-1, 2-0 on Havost, exactly the person you want 2 kills on. The other side, Zippo, I mean, you're not going to look a gift horse in the mouth.
Lane.
Oh, top lane, we got more action. Burning, how many times? Na'Vi punishing DK every time they stick their nose past the river. We can see the aggressive warding as well. Anytime they get past that little river staircase, Na'Vi is absolutely making him pay. And again, how long do you let this go on? Look at your farm. 10 last hits and only 4 denies at 7 minutes.
They just might want to rotate lanes sooner or later. I mean, RTK is doing what he can in the bottom lane, but eventually a Brood is just going to overpower a Windrunner. He picked up the Tranquil Boots to try to overcome the fact that Light of Heaven's going to be spamming that nuke relentlessly on him to try to get him to go back. And these lanes are just not working at all the way that DK had in mind. I mean, Burning doesn't even have boots, and it's 7 minutes into the game.
Yeah. She's quick. She's not so quick she don't need boots. We see Zippo doing what he can to try and keep some vision. But again, I mean, he's been doing this the whole time. It just hasn't mattered. Navi's execution has been so solid. Here we go. Super in some trouble. Puppey, though, not going to follow up. Instead, little shatter strike from Dindy, not much else. But yeah, I mean, and things like you point out, things are only going to get worse for ROTK down here. He's held the line all right, but they can only go on so much longer. So you're talking a guaranteed lost lane bottom, a lost lane top. Mid's really their only hope, but Super's not, I mean, he's just hanging, barely. 23 last hits to the 27 of Queen of Pain, and Queen of Pain has 17 denies.
Well, what's really hurting DK on top of that is that they went to aggressively tri-lane, and they have had no vision of the lane. I mean, they don't have any wards. The only ward that we saw placed was by Na'Vi, and it was aggressive ward. It did get countered, though, so that's definitely helpful. But, I mean, Burning is just going to have to play so passive, and Havosa, on the other hand, has had the start of pretty much a lifetime. He's second highest farmer in the game in terms of CS. He's got 3 kills and 3 assists, sitting on top of 2K gold with a poor man's, a ring of health, and a magic stick. So he has just had a phenomenal start so far.
DK moving a third up now. Long DD rejoins. Still abusing this dire side jungle. Havost and AA have been under down bottom. We got a dive on ROTK. Whiff by Dindy. Doesn't matter. Dindy's there to follow up with the scream and get the kill. That's something you don't want. You don't want Dindy moving around the map and getting kills. Doesn't matter if he's playing Crystal Maiden. He will carry.
Yeah, Dendy's the last person you want to give kills to, especially on a hero who has so much impact like a Queen of Pain.
Oh, yeah.
She can be active all over the map in a very short amount of time. That's why I think a lot of teams are starting to pick her more now. Her mobility in itself is enough to warrant the pick, but because of her sheer burst, and like I was talking about earlier, people pick for strong lanes, strong mid-game, and Queen of Pain's one of the best in the business when it comes to early-game team fights.
Up at top, potential for more action. DK, Na'Vi. One TP reaction in. Hang on, Dindin is going to give a little shatter strike. Puppey going to go ahead and pull back. Tide basically just bouncing between top and mid now, spending most time in mid. Bottom is a lost lane as predicted. Light of Heaven asserting his dominance following the kill on Windrunner. First tower goes down. ROTK still hanging. Super and Puppey. Puppey going to take a laser in the mouth. Here comes Long DD. He's going to get the net. Puppey in trouble. Tries to anchor smash, does counter ward, but is going to pay the price. Still, I guess it's better to get something done and die than get nothing done and die.
Being able to kill the ward is actually a relatively big deal. You know what I love about this, too, is the fact that he warded the Ancients. So typically when you see a Tinker mid, they always stack Ancients and make sure they can get the extra golden experience from that, but he's not going to be able to do it this time. And you just look at Habos top lane. Oh, man, Zippo's going to drop here, too, to the Edict. It's another kill for Na'Vi, now 4-8.
Na'Vi has seized control of this whole game. And so rare is it to see DK this on the back foot. They literally feel like they're scrambling to try to find something to work every time they try and do something at top. It fails. Bottom lane, ROTK did a noble job, but ultimately failed. In mid, even Super hanging in, doing the best he can, was up against Dindy. Dindy with 18 denies on top of the 40 CS. Just doing all the little things right. And this is a championship form Na'Vi squad executing at peak efficiency.
The last pick of the Brood really put Na'Vi in a great spot because DK anticipated that Brood was going to be long lane pretty much no matter what, and they wanted to give Anti-Mage that farm that he so desperately needs in a lot of these games. It just made their lanes almost immediately lose from the get-go, and that's just really hard to come back from. RTK has done a pretty good job, actually, of keeping the lane relatively counter-push, but there's only so much a winner can do against the Brood.
Indeed takes a Gale, manages to blink to safety, however. Puppey still there in mid. Taking a little bit of abuse, but not a ton. Light of Heaven has moved into the jungle now, into free farming mode for our Brood Mother. We'll see how much pressure he wants to put on Windrunner as we roll past about 11 minutes in right now. Very action-packed game with little lulls in between. It's feast or famine. A little bit of a quiet spot for the moment. ROTK about to change that. Take some Edict damage. Split Earth comes up just a little short.
They finally rotated and they realized that Burning isn't going to get any semblance of farm near top lane because of the fact that Na'Vi is putting basically all their eggs in one basket here. And another nice thing about Brood is that you force reactions all the time. You always have to have a hero down there in that lane no matter what. And right now it's going to be Super. And he did go for the Max March build. And I think he actually just finished his bots unless I'm mistaken. Yep, he did finally pick those up. So now he'll be a bit more active on the map. But because he doesn't have that burst, I mean, no one on Na'Vi is really worried about getting March spam at this point because of the fact that they have such high mobility heroes.
Yeah, I mean, really that's what's going on at the moment. What DK wanted to try to bring to bear is just not that much of a threat. I mean, look at Luna, still just looking for tier 2 boots on top of her ring. Struggling so much. Here comes Super. Long DD is there as well. The Shrek Puppy. Let's see if they want to charge out. But yeah, like you said, the March spam, you're not going to stand in it just for funsies.
Oh, Courier mid.
Dindy is there and is gonna get the Courier. Manages to blink to safety as well, heads to the high ground. Snuck around, just looking to isolate someone. Is gonna isolate ROTK. Here comes Burning. Good shackle shot though. Dindy's in trouble, trying to make a run for it. Got the blink up, does. Moves down to the river. Moving up towards top lane. Gonna find some help there with Havos. So Dindy, after picking off the Courier, manages to make it back to safety. In the meantime, DK beginning to apply pressure to the tier 1 mid. Puppy hangs around the periphery. Spams a little bit of Gush, trying to buy time. Are they going to contest it? They do have Glyph up if they want to use it. DK could use this shot in the arm. They need something to go their way, and it looks like this is going to go their way, kinda. Super clears out bottom. Now moving back to the base. Thought he was going to rejoin with his team, but instead heads back home. So DK finally gets something going. Doesn't change much, but hey, it's better than nothing.
A very, very much needed tower kill. I mean, that's actually the second tower of the game. It's actually 1-to-1 for towers right now, so DK is actually doing fairly well in that regard. But if you think about this, Navi's been winning the entire game, and their Tidehunter is not even level 6. He's level 5.
Yep.
They don't have Ravage yet, and they're doing this well. That actually scares me a lot for DK.
Brood's not far from an Orchid, my friend. And when Brood gets an Orchid, all of a sudden, all those scary spells that you always worry about become a little less of a concern once he joins in the team fight. We'll see when that's going to be. Na'Vi leading by an excess of 5,000 gold at this point. Very much in control of their own fates. Long DD hanging out dangerously close to Dindy. Not a place you want to be under most circumstances. Jen actually blows the heal. Not sure who he blew it to heal.
He just saved creeps with it, basically.
But a little bit of dancing back and forth, and this is kind of what you expect. Na'Vi, a team known for their execution, so is DK. Neither team likes to commit unless they're sure, but once they're sure, they commit everything. So you have these moments of downtime, where it's like the calm before the storm. But once one team feels like they have the positional advantage, you will see them commit. We may be seeing the beginning of that now as Na'Vi moves to pressure this tier 1 top tower. Burning's hanging there, still struggling mightily struggling. 30 last hits at 15 minutes on DK Burning. That is simply untenable.
It's something that we don't often get a chance to see, and Burning is going to be in trouble.
Is going to get picked off. Maybe he is going to die. So Havost and Puppy get the dive. I mean, that's just, it's a lack of levels, lack of gold. Now Havost in trouble. Beautiful shackle shot. And the Ravage saves him. Buys him just enough time. Zippo in trouble. Havost making a run. Puppy making a run. And there's the big scream on the backside. ROTK drops as well. Havost still banging away. Long DD. Gonna drop to Dindy. That's a 4-for-1 trade. Na'Vi 13-5. The current kill score, and that's what we were talking about, Draskell. When one team feels it, they go all in, and in this case, Dindy pulled nothing but aces.
DK with the most unfortunate timing in the world, going just when Puppy hit 6, caught him right on the edge of the Ravage, bought Dindy enough time to get to the team fight, clean everybody up. That's one of Queen of Pain's best scenarios. You walk in, you throw out the ultimate, you do a couple of screams, and you get a triple kill.
Burning, hanging out in mid, really hoping to make up a bit of that deficit. Just such a hole for a carry to try to get out of, especially when you're talking about a 100 CS Havost. He's already got his Battle Fury, just finished his Battle Fury. Havost started out very slow as well, but what do you even do at this point? Burning in trouble again. Force the TP out. You're up against an Anti-Mage with the Battle Fury, and you have 33 CS. I honestly can't even begin to imagine what hope you have of farming your way back into contention before Na'Vi just delivers the crushing blow.
Well, at this point, it's Navi's game to lose. And what really is about their lineup that's dominating is the fact they can always apply pressure. They never really have to wait for ultimate from Tide. I mean, as good as it is to have Ravage, Brood has been sitting bottom lane the entire game. He hasn't had to rotate at all. He's already on top of an Orchid with 2,000 gold treads and a Soul Ring. I mean, his farm is completely ridiculous, and they don't even need AM or Brood to move. They're basically just walking around as 3 heroes. They have their mid roaming as well, and Na'Vi is just in an incredibly dominant position at this point.
12,000 gold separating these two teams. And it's really just amazing. I mean, DK, a legendary team in both name and, of course, in personnel. When we talk about Burning, Na'Vi cemented their legend last year, right around this time. And they are taking a big, big step so far and looking to etch their name in the history books once again. Still a lot of Dota to be played, though, but it's going to be a long, hard road for DK. We'll see if they're up to the task, but again, back to what you were talking about. Na'Vi at any point, just because they can play so aggressive, they are so solid across the board, and especially because they have secured themselves, unbelievable map dominance. DK cannot go anywhere that's not warded without worrying that a Dindi is going to be right around the corner.
It gives Animage all the time in the world to farm. I mean, he has not felt pressure pretty much past the 10-minute mark, and Na'Vi has done an exceptional job of just making sure that they never have a chance to try to gank him because there's always a fist in their face first. And looking at the gold lead and the experience, this is something that we don't usually see until like 25, 30 minutes in. We're talking of almost 14,000 gold lead and a 15,000 experience lead. That's almost 1,000 difference in experience of gold per minute of this game.
Na'Vi's done all right. I think that's the general thesis here. DK going to look to reverse their fortunes very, very slowly, trying to play themselves right back into this. Looks like Tier 1 top might be their target of choice. Super is going to go ahead and bail out. But yeah, this is what Na'Vi can do. They're so far ahead. They're just like, oh, you want to take Tier 1 top? Fine. How about we take your racks? How's that sound? Edict's popped. Super's there. Tinker really the last line of defense, and they are going to go ahead and commit. But just look how slow this tower's dying. Up on top. Yeah, we even have Havos and Dindi moving up. Now the TP reaction comes in, and there's the blink in. Dindi does good damage. There goes the Eclipse and the Ravage. Ravage catches many. Havos, Shackle shot it down. Long DD hangs. We're going to see Burning drop Havos. Moving along the backside. Dindi's in trouble. He's down. ROTK in some trouble as well. Puppey losing health, making a run for it. Havos dodges the Shackle, but we see Tide drop anyway. Oh, did he dodge that? Are you kidding me? Dodges the creep spell, and DK gets the tower, but down at bottom, we can see the work being done by Light of Heaven and AA.
It was a really nice job right there from Na'Vi, drawing out the team fight as long as I could. Most even actually blinked back into March of the Machines just to extend it, to ensure that Arzart and Brood could kill the bottom tier 3. They got the racks to roughly about half health. It will regen a little bit, but honestly, as bad as that fight seemed to have gone for Na'Vi, they actually came out a bit ahead.
Yeah, and the way you got to remember the situation too. It was basically every bit of DK 4 out of 5, and Dindi and Habosha said, nah, it's fine. We got it under control. Rushed in, managed to force a fight that favored them. So Goldgraph, I mean, it's leveled out. Step in the right direction. Experience about the same, really. But it's Burning. Still 50 last hits at 20 minutes. 50 last hits at 20 minutes. Again, you don't want to sound hopeful, especially as a caster, but my goodness, what a deficit. And Havost is going to look to make it bigger and gets the kill on Super in top lane. Super unable to get to safety. Down for 40 seconds now. Burning continues to farm. But Na'Vi just has utter lane dominance right now. The crowd feels it. Na'Vi feels it. They're going to be looking to apply a little more pressure down here on bottom again via the Broodmother.
At this point in the game, I mean, DK is just playing as defensive as possible. If you look at the posturing, they're like all sitting by each other. The supports are always right next to the carry and things like that. But I mean, like 57 CS at 21 minutes. Has Burning ever had this little CS at this point in the game?
Yeah. Basically, if he disconnected and they didn't pause, I think is the only time that's happened. DK under mass assault here. I mean, we see they have to react. Look at the reaction that is required just for them to deal with Brood. Not to deal with everyone else. Everyone else is killing Roshan.
A free Roshan, double damage here on Havois. It's going to drop pretty much no contest. He's going to have his Manta finished really soon after this. I think as soon as he kills the Ancient Camp, it's pretty much going to be Manta. They might just go ahead and group up as 5 and push.
Na'Vi looking so strong. Have not missed a beat The gold, we keep bringing it up just to make sure that it actually says what we think it says. 14,000 differential, 22, in excess of 15,000 experience as well. And DK, I mean, they are trying to find some stability, and that's really, I think, the watchword for this game. What, if you ask what went wrong, stability. They had no lane stability. They had absolutely no map stability, no tower stability. Every time they poked their nose around the corner, Dindy or Havost or someone else was waiting to add to that kill total. And really, from the moment things went wrong in top with that first exchange, Na'Vi has not looked back. They have taken the little bit of momentum they got with that first battle and turned it in to what is becoming a complete rout.
Na'Vi once again showing why they were the International 1 champions. I mean, this kind of play is what makes you a top-tier team, even in world-class standards. Light of Heaven finishes his BKB. Honestly, if he walks into the base with as many Spiderlings as he has right now and he just pops his BKB, he might even be able to just kill the Rax solo, or at the very least make the rest of his team push another lane. Interestingly enough, the Tier 1 is still standing here for DK, which I don't think is going to be here too much longer. And, I mean, when you can basically just have your Brood sit in a lane all game, that's ideal.
Yep.
You can have DK react to it as much as you want. They were honestly winning this game almost 3v5.
Yeah, more or less. And Brood, as you pointed out, has been completely unimpeded. Windrunner spammed a bit, stayed alive, did a job. Now we got another dive. It's going to catch Super. Na'Vi just continuing to roll, looking for more kills. Not even that interested in the towers. Moving now. Down to the Tier 2. This is the one they want. Dindy cleans house, uses the screen, dragging the creeps. And yeah, I mean, just look at the positioning of DK. They can't leave their base. This is as far out as they're ever going to want to go. And yeah, Na'Vi senses it, says, you know what, we can end this right here. Dindy throws out the ulti. There's the hill from Chen. Na'Vi forced to retreat. Shackle shot doesn't latch. Gush to the high ground. Little rocket spam. Dindy's going to be real careful. Very low health. And yeah, he's just going to go ahead and get out of dodge. So Na'Vi. And then, to me, this is the mark of a team that is going to go far. They have all the momentum in the world and a nigh insurmountable lead. But they still go, no, we don't need to fight right now. Let's take our time. Let's back up. Let's not press an advantage that we don't feel like is a full advantage. Instead, let's just do what we've continued to do, and we'll get this win eventually.
Oh, Super in trouble middle lane. He's going to get picked off by the Mana Void. Havost getting another kill. And I totally agree with the choice to fall back there. It's so easy to say, yeah, we got an Aegis. We can just walk up here, take the team fight. But let's be honest, Tinker with March of the Machine spam is so tough to deal with. But now that he's dead, I mean, heck, Na'Vi can just go ahead and Rax.
Here comes Havost. ROTK hits a Shackle. That's going to catch Havost and Puppey. Blinking from Dindy. Doesn't get a skill off yet. Shackle's gone. They're banging Rax. There's the Ravage. Puppey basically isolates Long DD and Burning. Burning pops the Eclipse. Havost barely survives it. Light of Heaven back out. Melee Rax is already down, however. Burning in trouble. Havost giving chase. Mana Void's not up for 30 seconds. Arzard giving chase. Dindy's there. Puppey's there. Anchor Smash on Zippo. Dindy gets a kill on the top side. And there it is. The GG in a 25-minute game. The defending champions show DK what championship form looks like.
Phenomenal play out of Na'Vi, especially the tri-lane top. I mean, honestly, they almost won the game by themselves up there. The 3v5 combination, of course, Light of Heaven did a lot as well because he applied so much pressure to bottom lane with that Brood. Excellent drafting, excellent play. 7-21. Na'Vi takes game number 1.
Na'Vi, in convincing fashion, in crowd-pleasing fashion, puts game 1 in the books. DK, the legends, gonna look to force a game number 3. Be back with game 2 coming up next. Now to the analyst desk.
So then, if you want to know how to win here at the International in convincing fashion, you need to have some experience like Na'Vi have. It's great to see a team that get a lead, don't necessarily need to slow it down, but just know where to poke and know where to go at their opponents. And Na'Vi show how dangerous they are at a tournament, and now they're 1-0 up.
Yeah, they look very, very convincing there. I mean, they just sort of read DK very well. The draft worked well for them. They just seemed to outlane, win every single lane, and there was nothing really DK could do with how they set it up.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the primary Brood problem, right? If you leave Brood alone, she's going to take your Raxus and base. And even Leshrac was down there because at this point they were already pretty fat on the top lane. But then they went to focus on the top lane and just gave that away. And then when they did focus on that, Anti-Mage is just free farming up top. I mean, it's not a good plan.
Yeah, I hate to ask, Bruno, but what does your friend think?
He's happy.
That is
he
actually
told me something. You know how Navi is so hard to beat. So he set up a compilation of the heroes that you have to pick because Navi is not really good against them. So we have Luna, that didn't do too well, Sniper, Jakiro, Death Prophet, and Brewmaster. Those are the 5 heroes Navi doesn't do well against.
So
Sounds
DK
like a
need to
good
pick
team.
that exact team, right?
Well, yeah, that exact team.
Sounds like a fantastic
Yeah,
team.
surefire win. All right, yeah, what a great matchup. What a great match. Na'Vi, this is what everyone says about them. It didn't matter what happened in group stage with Na'Vi. When they turn up to play on the day, they can beat everybody. And that's exactly what they've done in the game number 1. But of course, we'll be going into game number 2 in a little bit. But we do have some highlights for you from that game. I do believe we'll be looking at either the first blood or one of the double kills. Take it away, guys.
Yeah, basically what happened is right off the bat there was some aggression at top lane. They run into each other at the woods here. It's Luna who sort of gets initiated on. Long DD, I think, manages to save him with that Holy Persuasion, but it goes downhill very quickly, even with Luna being saved. And I mean, this was sort of the beginning of the end. Arsat landing some really well-placed split earths, and I mean, there's the Luna save. Chen still goes down, and from here on out, Leshrac double kill right off the bat. Arsat, I think he was the deciding factor in this top lane.
Yeah, you give up a first blood, but then you give away 2 kills on the backside. I mean, yeah, Havos doesn't end up getting those last hits, but he gets that XP, he gets that assist gold. And I think this is really the biggest problem in the game for me. You have a tri-lane going against a tri-lane, and if you ever lose that, the game is going to be impossible.
And immediately after that, Luna TP's back to the lane up, being sent home, and immediately dies. So it's actually a 3-1 kill swing going the way of Na'Vi.
Yeah, we talk
and
about,
from there it was a slippery slope.
Yeah, we talk about how burning-centric DK is. If you just kill burning twice right off the bat, that's a pretty solid way to lose a game.
So why do you think that DK decided we'll go tri-lane versus tri-lane?
I think it's the Brood pick. Yeah, it comes down to the last pick, Brood. I think it really threw off DK. They wanted to run that Luna in the safe lane. They see the Brood and they're thinking, okay, this is not something that Luna matches up well against. Even with the dual lane, tri-lane with some Sentry Wards, it's still a bit of a tough lane, so they wanted to have the Windrunner matched up there. The tri-lane versus tri-lane did not work, and Burning, he's the player they base it around. It didn't work out for him with the aggressive tri-lane.
Yeah, and of course, Bruno, Broodmother's been played not so often in this tournament, but has been, and just hasn't been that good of a hero thus far.
No,
but today?
By no means. Today was the first time it was played, but for example, DK does not like to pick Broodmother. They're 0 and 6 with them. Na'Vi, on the other hand, they're really high. They're, let me find it, there they are. It's 18 and 4 with Broodmother, so pretty strong for them. But you can say that for pretty much every hero by Na'Vi because they win games.
They win a lot of games.
Have DK ever lost with a Husker pick?
Would I?
Husker pick. I'm
no,
calling a
because
Husker
they
game
have
too.
never played Husker.
There you go. Pick Husker game too.
Pick Husker.
That's your insider information.
Yeah, if you pick Husker.
I've been speaking to Burning. He's been developing this strategy around Husker, and I think we may see it in game 2, especially with them losing that first game.
I'm calling shenanigans. I think that's complete crap because you don't speak Chinese and Burning doesn't speak English. So,
French.
Maybe when you talk to him, he just pretends he doesn't speak English.
Oh, that's a good point. I'm going to get Anderson on that. I'm going to bring Anderson to Burning, and we're going to discuss this.
Anderson's been doing the interviews for us with the Chinese team.
LGD
He's been doing a
the
great
most
job.
boss guy here, by the way.
Yeah, I think he was wearing a suit. He's really put us to shame.
He's pretty looks way better than we do.
Yeah. Not hard, maybe. But, of course, let's talk about the next game. We're going to be going into game number 2. DK.
I personally think they got to stick to what they do best. I mean, they have a strategy. They run it religiously. Like, they literally just do the similar things every game. It's not the same thing over and over and over. But I think if you can look to get Burning and Anti-Mage, I mean, they obviously have a lot of success with that. Even a Lone Druid, I think you got to go for that.
Yeah, and I think the banning stage is very important as well. I mean, they got caught by surprise by the last pick Brood. I wouldn't be surprised to see it banned off here, or possibly at least banned off in the second stage. If it's picked up in the first stage, you can come up with some kind of a counter, but when it's picked up that late in the draft, they had nothing to do with it.
Bruno, anything you can give us some inside intel,
Well,
Mr. Statman, on DK?
There's one thing that DK did well in the first game, was first ban Pudge. Na'Vi is 10-0 with Pudge. Every single time Dandy plays, he wins. So at least they have their priorities straight. Next step, win the game.
You make it sound so simple.
This guy's like the best captain. He's just wins, just whatever.
So let's talk about Na'Vi. Obviously, just winning the first match, that's great for them. But they are beatable. We all know this. And they had a lot of momentum throughout that game. Are they going to be able to carry it into game number 2? What do you think they'll be looking to pick, ban out? Because sometimes it's quite hard when you go back into the ban and pick phase and you're the winning team. because it's really DK that have the options. So what do you think Na'Vi are going to prioritize?
Yeah, I mean, Na'Vi lost their R of invincibility about a month or so back, and going into this, they lost a couple games of the group stages. So I think if you're Na'Vi, you just got, I mean, they can play anything. I don't really think they have to worry about what they're doing as long as they do it well.
Okay, Gots?
Yeah, I think for me, Na'Vi, we're going to be seeing them maybe, with Brew being banned out, they can just resort back to something like Dendi on his trademark Tinker, maybe an Invoker, something just a bit more standard from them.
All right, then. So, yeah, an incredibly strong start for Na'Vi. Can they keep it going? Can they take the series 2-0? Or will DK be able to tie us up? We'll find out as we go back to the commentators for game number 2.
And game